Hallelujah. So we've been talking about wealth creation, and today will be the last in the series, at least for some time. You don't know it until it begins to work for you. You know, many times we say to ourselves, I know it. But trust me, you don't understand it yet until you begin to benefit from its value. And today we are looking at businesses and wealth creation. Last week I gave you the statistics. 45% of rich people made their monies through businesses. 45%. 30% from what that study says got their money through investment. 30%. Only 15% got it through inheritance. 5% through high-paying jobs, and 5% through entertainment. So you see that the principal way most people still made a lot of their money is through what? I didn't hear you. Through businesses. However, business is not some quick, rich scheme, get it fast scheme. Starting a business is not for the faint-hearted. So we will still look at it for those that are not faint-hearted, because it is still one of the most viable ways of making money, building serious wealth. Many people don't think about businesses because they hang too much around employees. If you hang around employees every time, what you'll be hearing is getting good jobs. And there's nothing wrong about getting a good job, but just understand that wages don't make rich, profits do. Salaries, not many people will get enough salaries in their lifetime to make a difference in their lives. So understand that there's nothing wrong with being a staff and employee of a well-paying organization, but trust me, if it is possible and you understand businesses, it's better to go that way. Which leads me to the major flaw in our educational system. Even though we begin to see a lot of schools, addressing it little by little, most of our schools train us to become employees, to look for jobs. I mean, in Nigeria today, how many jobs really exist that we employ all the people graduating? There's not just enough out there. Some, no matter how much prayer and are prayed, will not get the jobs. Why? Because the jobs are not there. But the good part is that some of you have enough skills to create jobs. And that is a subject we are looking at this morning. So, what do I need to start? Again, I need to emphasize that starting a business is not... So if your reason for wanting to start a business is, I can't work for anybody, just forget it. Don't start a business. If your reason for wanting to start a business is, I need my time to myself, forget it. Don't start a business. Because when you start a business, you're going to work more than when you were working for somebody. And then when you are working for somebody, by 4:35, you say, I'm closing. Now that you are working for yourself, is 24 hours. Do you understand that? So you need to get your reason right. It must be passion driven, it must be reason driven. Not, I don't want to work for anybody, not, I want to have my time to myself. Those are very strong reasons for starting a business, and they will not keep you going when the challenges show up. Hallelujah. Okay. So let's get the statistics on business mortality rate in the United States. I checked up for Nigeria, and what I saw was that in the first 5 years of most businesses, only about 5 to 10% survive. In other words, in the current climate, in the current business environment, about 90 to 95% of businesses that are started will fail. And I know people that were doing well until they started their business. They took loans, borrowed all the money they could, and the business failed, and now they're in problem. So this is not to scare you, it's to put a balance. Don't go and resign your job immediately. But the best way, if you have a job on hand, is to start with a side hustle. You don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. You don't want to put both legs into what you are not yet sure of. And trust me, most first business owner, if it's your first time of starting a business, the likelihood of failing is very high. Why? There are so many skills you have to acquire, experience you have to gather, you have to navigate a lot of waters. So please put all we're going to learn today into the proper context. In the United States, in the first 2 years, 20% of businesses fail. In the first 5 years, 45% of businesses will fail. And in the first 10 years, 65% of businesses will fail. That is in the United States. So you need to be aware of the mortality rate. This is not something to be hidden away from you so that you get there and find out. I've seen people come to me who are not aware of the challenges of businesses, and they talk about it as if they have just discovered gold, as if and it's good to have that level of excitement, because it's what's going to generate the inner passion you need to run. But you need to be aware of the risks by the side. Don't go and sell your father's house to start a business and say, once I do well in the business, I'll bring the money back. I'm not saying you shouldn't take risks, but there are quite a lot of things to know about the risk you are taking. In fact, I've listened to a couple of billionaires, and I remember one I was listening to said, if you go and take a heavy loan to start a business, the guy said you are a moron. He said, because the likelihood of failing is there. Don't put all your money into it. So I want to tell you about some business, some industries that fail the most. And this it's been tested, they've checked statistics, and some of them will shock you. Number one on the list is restaurants. Restaurants. How many of you have visited a beautiful restaurant, well furnished, nice chefs, the ambience looking great, and there were only about 2 of you eating there? Anybody? I mean, the other day I was in one nice big restaurant on the island there, and the gen has to be up. I can't eat in darkness. Very big place. We were not up to 5 that were there, but very big place. And they had to put on their generator. The ACs had to be on, and everything had to be on. The chefs had to all be ready in case any order comes. They had to do some cooking. Not everything was a la carte, so they had to have some basic things on ground. Their drinks have to be chilled, so the freezer had to be running, and all of that for 5 of us. Many people are not aware of the cost of running a restaurant. Just say, let me just run a restaurant. Sometimes it's a problem. And this statistics is global. It's global. It's not just Nigeria, that a lot of restaurants do fail. And that's not to say that restaurants don't succeed. It's just that a lot of them fail. Particularly if all you do is eat in. You don't have outdoor catering services, and you don't have complementary services added that are bringing in the money. Number 2, hotels. Okay, this another industry. And why I'm mentioning this is because if you are a first-time business owner, if you can avoid these ones till much later, even if you want to go into them, it's better. Hotels, one of the reasons they fail is if they have not garnered enough client base, enough customers. Okay, so you could have 100 rooms and the level of occupancy is just 2%. And yet, guess what? The hotel business is one where customers expect 24/7 service. It's one of those businesses where 24/7 is a must. What about power? I can't go and pay money for a hotel to be sleeping in darkness. Like, you understand what I mean? And their reason is that they don't have enough customers. Sorry, even if I'm the only one. In a hotel, it's like you are at home. You can't do that to me, right? That's one of the reasons they fail. The overhead is huge. Okay. Another thing that fails a lot is retail. Particularly the brick and mortar, not the e-commerce version. Just this last week, one of the biggest, well-known retail shop closed down in the UK, Ted Baker. They closed all their shops in the UK. But they will not be the first. A lot of them have closed. Why are they closing? Because they can't compete with the online retails. They have to have inventory. Those guys may not even have inventory. They just tell you we deliver in 5 days. With all their just-in-time production line, you can't beat them. They don't have to pay for all the stores that these people have all over the place. So margin is very lean because overhead is huge, and yet even at that, competition is so high. And after running for some time, just say to yourself, man, it's so difficult doing this. Except you have big money and you have made money in many other places, you see that retail easily fails. Okay? Independent consulting. Just come out and say, I'm now a consultant. Okay, and so what? What's your pedigree? Who knows you? For example, in the office, you are looking for a consultant. One of the first things they say, who has he consulted for? Where is he work? Can we see his CV? Is he one of the big 4? There are quite a lot of things that if you are not in that league, it's either you won't get the jobs, or it's only when they need peanuts. They want to give peanuts that they call, okay, just call that one. That's if you get it at all. So at the end of the day, this guy says he's his own CEO, but he's not making anything. And there are many CEOs that it's just glorified title. I'm the CEO. Don't let all the Instagram introduction fool you. I'm the CEO of Rivetti, corporation, institution, Kineka. All those Kineka, calm down. What do you people do? How much do you make? That's what it comes to. So sometimes it fails. What other thing fails? You must have known it by now. A lot of tech companies, software companies are failing. A lot of them. Why? Because many of them don't understand business. They understand engineering, but they don't understand business. And therefore, they start their business, develop the softwares, gather a lot of overheads, believing that funding will come, and funding never comes. And when funding does not come, or funding dries up, everything goes out of the picture. So you see, a lot of software companies, tech companies are dying because of this. But that's not to say many are not succeeding. For example, in Nigeria, we know that we had Flutterwave, we've had Paystack. I mean, doing very well in the fintech space, and there are so many others. But you need to study those models very well to know how they were able to succeed where others are not succeeding. And you need to really have a great idea, a brilliant idea, not to be eaten up by the sharks in that space, because they are sharks. All they are just looking for are ideas, and if you have done the idea, all they need to do is they just build their own. Or if God helps you, they call you, say, okay, let's buy you over, we think we like what you are doing. And if you say, no, I'm not selling, why not? You could be like some of the ones that have made it. But I've also seen people like the other one, a bigger company offered to buy them for, I think, about 200, and I can't quite remember now, let me not quote a figure. So they offered to buy them, and this guy said, no, we're not selling. And guess what? A few months later, they went bankrupt. They had to shut down. And the article I read said they refused this offer, and now they are shutting down. Why? The bigger boys, they are there, they will pump in money until you begin to beg to be bought over. So there are quite a lot of things, a lot of dynamics, politics to this thing. Okay, having said that, what are the skills I think that a business owner self, and you have to be honest here. See, I don't know how to identify opportunities. Please just go and look for a job. I believe very strongly in my heart that not everybody is going to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody will be successful as business owners. So I don't see an how is it that you see this opportunity? I don't see opportunities. Just go and do what? Look for a job. A business owner must be able to spot business opportunities in everything. Wow, I see something I can do there. Wow, I see an area I can play there. It's a very important skill. And when we say opportunities, number one, it is where is the business in this thing. For example, when you look at WhatsApp, how many of you use WhatsApp? I know in Nigeria, most of us, I don't understand. Many of you don't use WhatsApp? Okay. If you don't use WhatsApp, we may need to see after the service. Now, I do know there are alternatives to WhatsApp, but you must be using one of these. You can't be running your phone bill like you used to run it. You know, my phone bill went down significantly when I switched to WhatsApp. There are countries where they give you free minutes per month just because you are on the contract. So when you use those minutes, it's technically free because the contract amount is a sunk cost. In Nigeria, I know that if you buy certain amounts of credit, they can give you some free minutes on top. So except you have free minutes, you should really be using many of these things. Okay, but that's a digression. The real question is this, because we're talking about identifying opportunities. What is the business in WhatsApp? And why did Meta buy it over? What business is there in a WhatsApp? How do they make money from WhatsApp? Have you thought about all that? Anytime you say this thing is free, know that it's costing somebody something. WhatsApp may be free to you, but it costs the owner a lot. Why did the parent company of Facebook buy Meta over, since it's free? I want you to think about that. But think about this, that business is about identifying opportunities. What opportunities exist in this? For example, normal people will say, wow, I think I'm at a disadvantage living in Nigeria. But have you asked yourself, why is it that some white people are coming here and living here? Now, I know that in the current climate, a lot of businesses are now leaving, but some of them are not living permanently. Some of them are just watching from outside that if something improves, we are coming back. What do you think it's like that? Why do you think that some of the biggest companies in Nigeria today, at least lately, many of them are owned by people who had traveled out and who came back into Nigeria? They are identified opportunity. One opportunity is the population. If you can do something for over 200 million people, it's very difficult to go bankrupt that way because there is the sheer population. Do you understand that? Hello? So, business opportunity. So, for example, you are in this church. And one thing you could ask yourself, one thing a business owner, the real business owner will be asking himself is, what can I do that a lot of people in the church here need? Such that almost all of the people in the church will be patronizing me. That's really what business is about. You look for something that a lot of people are into, or you look for a high margin good or product or service, and that's it, you're rich. So a business owner needs to be able to identify opportunity. If you are the type that say, I don't know what to do, I can't see anything, please just look for a job and be doing fine at your job. Because it's not just the first identification of the opportunity a business owner needs. It needs to constantly identify opportunities. He also needs to be able to identify value. Now, for so many years, and I think probably even now, I didn't check, but probably even now, Amazon is not making money. Is somebody hearing me? There's revenue, but no profit. Okay? I didn't check what their current financials say, but for a very long time, we call such businesses loss leaders. The owner knows that he's not making money and is deliberately selling below his cost price. So he's making a loss on that business. But there's a reason he's doing that. Number one could be to kill the competition. He has money. So say, you are coming against me. It brings the value down such that the competition, they are holding business meetings every day. Say, how is he doing it? How is he able to fix that price? And the numbers are not agreeing. And the reason they are not agreeing is because the number cannot agree. You are dealing with somebody who has the capital. Okay, so he's making losses deliberately. And when every one of you has now left the business, it will now come up again. That could be a reason. Another reason is because he's using that product to sell another product. So even though he's making a loss in A, he's using A to sell B. And when you put A and B together, it's making a profit. That's actually what is happening to Amazon. So you must be able to identify value. What can I do that can be exchanged for value? Sometimes people come and ask you for money and beg you for money. And when people come like that, one of the things that happen is you assist. But when it keeps happening, even an adult does not feel like wanting to come. Do you know what I'm talking about? Now, versus somebody came one day and said, Pastor, I've written a book. And when I looked at it, actually it's a booklet. Very, 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 very tiny, like this. I can finish it in 20 minutes. Everything he has written, I can finish in 20 minutes. But because he brought a product to me, okay, I have this value I want to contribute. He brought it. And guess what? I was compelled, because it's just natural to appreciate effort. You want to appreciate people's effort. I think I gave him 20,000 naira or so. That was many years ago now. For just a few pages. I think he probably was selling the book for 500 naira or 300 naira. Because it was many years ago. But what happened? For that effort, I gave him 20,000 naira. So identify business, identify value. It's a skill every business owner needs. So the assignment I'm going to give you is this. Just look around you here. What are business opportunities that you can see? What are business opportunities that you can see? I was in a meeting with some of our leaders last week, and I shared with them that for me, there are so many business opportunities I see here. I don't know why a lot of people are not tapping into it. For example, how many of you here hit Gary? Okay, almost everybody. Right? Maybe a few people don't hit Gary, that's fine. Almost everybody hit Gary. Guess what? Yet, we don't have a Gary supplier in the church. Some years ago, when Pastor Kechuku was around, he got into that business. He will ship in Gary, they will fry it very well picked and neat. How many of you remember he was doing that business? And he wasn't just doing it in the church, he was doing it in the office. You know, when Jesus wanted to pick his disciples, he went to people that were already working, tax collectors and things like that, because sometimes they are the best at doing more work. So he had a job, yet he added that at the side also. They will fry it for him, they will ship it to Lagos, and they will sell everywhere. And when he was leaving, guess what happened? His brother took over that. Minister Emeka took over that, and he continued with the customer base of his brother, and he continued selling the business. Now, he left, and nobody sells again. And I said to my wife the other day that if anybody here is doing that business, let's patronize them every month. Almost an automated business, because you are not the one frying. You are not the one doing the cassava. All you are doing is talk to the suppliers. They bring it down. You put your margin on top. You bring it to church on Sunday. You reach out and say, "Mommy, as your Gary not finished, it should have finished by now." Are you the one monitoring our Gary? Yes, I'm the one, ma. You bought the last Gary on July 24th. I supplied it by 1:20 p.m. By now, the Gary should have finished. I'm bringing Gary for you on Monday. See, it's real. Do you understand what I'm saying? One of my friends the other time in the office, she began to bring to the office soup, prepared soup. You know, she hired people that were doing the soup for her. You pre-order and they do the soup for you. In fact, there was one day I saw a nice flyer, and this person, what does she do? In Lekki there, Lekki phase 1. She cooks different types of soup. You place an order, one bowl of, I think, a icon. And this was probably like, how many years ago? Maybe like 6 years ago. 6 years ago. One bowl of a icon that's probably a small family of 3 can take was about 8,000 then. So I was like, really? Let's just have something different from what they cook at home. At least they too will rest, then we too will have variety. So I went, I placed an order, and then when I closed from work, it was ready. I drove down there. My goodness. When I got there, you know who the person that delivered? The person that delivered dressed like a nurse. A chef, but dressed like a nurse, came out in immaculate white. I said, Auntie Bimura. But guess what? It was so beautiful. It was so nice. That's why, and it's a non-philosophy, that the rich keep getting richer while the poor keep getting poorer. It's a non-philosophy, because once you get the principle, it keeps working for you all over and over. So I can't emphasize too much on your ability to identify opportunities. It's so important. And it reflects in the way you do your things every time. Identifying opportunities. What can I do? Why is it like this? Why is that not like that? There was a time a brother here decided to go into laundry business. And guess what? He told each of us that, sir, I'm into laundry business. It's not enough to just pray that God will bless me. I'm now doing business. I said, well, if you can iron my clothes very well and bring it out very beautifully, you have my business going forward. And guess what? When he did the first one, he did it so well, so nice, that I said, that is it. And I think about a few of us, I remember I was giving him work. Pastor Wale was giving him his business. Pastor Kechuku was giving him his business. A lot of us were giving him our business. Why? Because he was paying attention to the fabrics, and he was paying attention to the finesse. The finishing was good. It was as if we gave it to a big business. Without all the overhead, he was doing it so well. I even offered to do home service. So he comes to your house with his iron. We had one like that also. He'll come to your house with your iron, or with his iron, you give him a table. He uses your electricity, and he does everything that he needs to do. And by evening, he is gone. A small business. And he can graduate from that to an agency. As he has more clients, he employs more people who can support him in that venture. Why? Because he has identified an opportunity. Somebody says, why don't I wash myself? Sorry, I'm not going to wash myself because my per hour bill is a lot more than doing the washing myself. So we are at different scales in this thing. But it's an agency somebody can start. Hallelujah. Is somebody still with me? What else have I seen? And I mean, I've seen quite a lot of. What about a cleaning agency? It's one of the businesses that is doing. You hire cleaners. They are not going to be permanent staff. They are going to be ad hoc staff. Most of them will be working in corporate organizations as cleaners, but whenever you need them, if you tell them ahead, they can take time off work, or you put your cleaning on weekends. What do you need to start? A business card. Then you say to everybody in the house, we do deep cleaning. We do this type of cleaning. You study a lot about it. Okay, we can sweep our houses every day, but there are some types of cleaning that you need a professional to come and do. That is it. We can give you business. At least you can come once in a while to the house and clean the house, and just do it in a way we will not be able to do it ourselves. And 2-3 people give you their business here. You are in business, a side also, without all the overhead. And you are a business owner. Don't always think I have to manufacture something from China, or I have to do something big. Many big businesses started small because their owners were able to identify opportunities. How do I identify opportunities? Well, or how do I learn? Because it's a skill. It's something you can learn. Many of us, we are not trained to be able to learn some of these things. In the course of the week, I was chatting with somebody, and he said to me that a few people are complaining who had traveled that their children were better off academically when they were in Nigeria than when they moved over. And I said to him that, yeah, I understand their perspective, but I think it's a matter of perspective. Why? Because when my children went to the UK, when they were there at the time, it appeared that they were better in Nigeria too, because their classes were, they were lowered, okay? They came to lower classes, and it seemed as if for their age, they had learned a lot more in Nigeria than out there. But guess what? Many of them, their education are more rounded. They are more for the total man. We do a lot of things very, very fast. By 6, you're already speaking very, very big English. By primary what? You have crammed the times table 1 to... Do you understand? So this guy, this small boy, knows the timetable 1 to 12, can recite everything, but he doesn't know that if I put 2 apples in 2 hands, how many apples do I have in all? Do you understand? He understands arithmetic, but he doesn't understand quantitative reasoning. So, I hope you are getting what I'm saying. Many things we cram, but we can't apply. If our education was really that fantastic as we claim it is, why is it that our mechanical engineers are not building automobiles? Do you get what I mean? So that's not to say that our education is not good. I'm just saying that sometimes it's a matter of perspective. You need to understand that perspective. But what brought me to this was a lot of our study don't help us with identification of opportunities. We just fix it and it begins to work, but we don't get deep into research. Now, if you're going to do business and you're going to succeed at it, you have to be able to look and see what others cannot see. You have to be able to look and say, I see opportunities here. For example, one of our brothers who is now doing his PhD in the USA, how did I know him? I was looking for a teacher, a chess teacher for my children. Now, growing up, there were a few things I did, and I said to myself, my children are going to do all of these things, because some of these things open up other parts of your brain for use. So I started playing chess very early, in my life when I was in secondary school. And I said my children will start learning when they're in primary school. So I was looking for a teacher. And then I got somebody online who said, oh yeah, I'm coming on this day, blah, blah, blah. And the day came and it didn't come. However, I sent someone. And in talking to the person he sent, his representative, I understood that actually it's an agency. The person I first spoke with owns an agency, and he has employed a lot of teachers under him. The person that came first class, I think he studied petroleum engineering or something, from one of our universities here, but at this time he hadn't gotten a job, and he plays chess. So he signed up with the agency as a facilitator, and this agency provides home service, chess, and then they go to schools and run their chess curriculum. So if you have chess clubs, this agency can provide the teachers. You don't have to have full-time teachers on your beat. They just come once in a while, depending on your schedule and your pay. And this was what he was doing. Now today, this brother is done so well for himself. He's traveled abroad, but the agency continues. They just provide one person. And I've seen chess agency, I've seen music agency. Music, you have your music business. You hire music people, maybe instrumentalists. You provide schools. You go to schools. You don't need a permanent music teacher. You just need to hire our agency. We will always provide you with people that come around. And before you realize it, it's a big business agency. How? Because you identified opportunities. So how do I do it? Now, for me, number one, because it's a skill you can learn. There's a book, How It All Started, where they profiled a few companies and they went into how they all started. If I remember one particularly, unfortunately it didn't come to my mind while I was preparing for this. I would have gotten the details. But I remember this guy went to another country and he saw a particular product there and he liked it. And he said to himself, we don't have these in America. When I get back to America, I'm going to start this. And guess what? When he got back to America, he started bam, and that was the business. How it all started, when you see how other people started their business, it will give you idea. It begins to open up other parts of you that you did not know existed. That's why real business owners always read. Always. If you are not reading, you are not likely to be a business owner. Okay. How it all started is something. Now, sometimes I go to a website called indiehackers.com. Indiehacker is I-N-D-I-E. Hackers, Hackers.com. Now, what it does is to give the profile of some businesses people have started. I just read it. And sometimes I'm like, wow, I didn't see the business in that thing until I read this. And if somebody has done it, it means it can be replicated. I have found that personally that the more you read about people's businesses, the more business ideas, you generate. But until you can identify opportunities, sorry, don't start a business because you will just be frustrated. About last year, there was a website I saw, and I think I saw them through Indiacast too. This guy started a side hustle. What he began to do was to interview a lot of founders, how they started their business, and interviewed them a lot. When he got a sizable number, he started a business from it. And now in this business, he has profiled a lot, and he keeps adding every time about the business people do, how they started it, how much they started with, how they got the initial capital, quite a lot that the details are so clear, you almost can replicate that model. But it's not free. So I got some money when he was doing a promo. I waited until he was doing a promo. That's one thing to do when you really want to buy a lot of things. I waited until promo. One of the best promo times in all the year is Black Friday. Almost all of them do Black Friday deals. And then Easter deals too. Those are the periods I really buy many things the most. So he was doing a promo. I bought a lifetime subscription. And now with that subscription, I have access to how thousands of businesses, how they started. And from time to time, I look through, okay, when you learn from other people's wisdom, you get wisdom. In case you've been saying to yourself, maybe that's the reason I don't know about how to start businesses, I agree with you. When you cannot generate these ideas, is a big problem. Now, so that's the first thing I really will say. A business owner needs to be able to identify opportunities, problems he can solve, doubts he can clear, services he can offer. How may I be of help? How may I be of service? Is there something I can do to help? This is how businesses really, really start. Number 2, I believe that a business owner needs to learn sales techniques. He has to be able to sell. I've seen people that say before, selling is not my thing. Well, I'm happy for you. Then business is not your thing. Let me tell your neighbor, if selling is not your thing, starting a business is not your thing. Let's say one more time so that I can be clear. If selling is not your thing, starting a business is not your thing. Business owners sell. Now, in fact, listen to me. There are business owners that are not the CEOs of their businesses. It's a model that more and more founders are adopting now. They are the founders, but they are not the CEO. They are employees in their own company. Because he knows that running this thing, this management thing is not my thing. But I can sell. Or I can do engineering. So they just say, okay, I hire you as my CEO. I will be working on other parts of the business. Every business owner must be able to sell. I saw a video. The interviewer gave the interviewee something, and he said, sell it to me. You know what the interviewee said? Do you need it? In my mind, I said, you are failed already. Because the purpose behind selling is not whether they need it or not. They are the ones to determine that. You are the ones to show them that they can even buy it ahead. Somebody said, and I agree with him, that a good salesman can convince you at 25 to buy a coffin now, planning for your death. That one day you will need it. And do you realize that the price of coffins are going up? So it's an investment. Salespeople can convince you to buy anything. Good salespeople. And they have convinced me so many times to buy many things, but now I have my own strategy that if I'm feeling under pressure to buy it, I will not buy it. I'll give myself 3 days. Then, the moment a salesman makes the mistake of saying they don't make it again, that is the last set, that's on for me. If it's so good and many people are demanding, the company should be making more. The moment they are not making more, I'm not buying. So, sales is very important. It doesn't matter how sophisticated your products are or your services are if nobody is buying. Have you found out that some of the most successful companies and the products are not necessarily the best products? Why is it that with all the fact that we all know that Coke has a lot of sugar, we keep drinking? Why? They spend a whole lot on marketing. And while marketing is not sales, but it can lead to sales. So I don't know how to sell. Sincerely speaking, I don't know what you can do. If you're a pastor, you have to sell. You have to sell the vision of the church. That's why people join. If you are a father, you have to sell the vision of the family. That's why even when your children live they are no longer under your roof, they keep on saying, Daddy said. They keep on saying, our family name. I can't spoil our family name. What is it in the family name? Daddy has told them that the family name is important. 10 years after Daddy has died, he's still remembering his family. That's sales. So I can't sell. I'm not cut out for sales. So what are you cut out for? How many of you realize that evangelism is selling? Huh? You are not denying Jesus. You are not putting commercial value on Jesus, but you are selling the Jesus brand. This person, before you got there, didn't want Jesus. After you leave, or by the time you are done, he said, I'm for Jesus. That was how Jesus was sold to me. Peter said, we've not followed cunningly devised fables. So it was sold to us and we bought it. You must be able to sell. But if you are still at the level of, I'm not a salesperson, I'm always shy to sell, I don't want to sell, please don't just start a business because you won't be able to sell it. Say, but I will hire salespeople. But there are days when people want to hear from the owner. And even when all the sales owner have done all the preliminary works, sometimes somebody wants to say, can I talk to the owner of this business? Then you destroy all their work by saying, but if you don't need it, you don't need to buy it. No, you are not a salesman. You are the one saying, the guy says, I don't think I need it. Then you are bringing the features. That look at the features. Look at what the competitor has. Look at why you need to buy it. And it has to be bought now. Said, but, okay, this is how much I have now. It's just about 70% of the value. I think the remainder will come later. You know what a salesman is saying? A salesman is saying, if you make it 80%, I like you to take it now, and next month you give me the remaining 20%. However, if you give me this 70% you have now, okay, the price will just increase by about 10%. It's arranging and negotiating such that by the time the guy is done, he must just buy something. That's selling. And a business owner needs that skill. Hallelujah. Number 3, a business owner needs communication skills. So selling could be part of it, but it's not the only thing. You have to be able to communicate the brand. You have to be able to tell people why your brand is better. I don't want to go too much. You have to be able to sell the vision to your employees, to other stakeholders. You have to be able to sell the vision to those who want to put their money into it. It's so important, communication. Then you have to be able to identify talent. Now, I said identify opportunities, but also identify talent. Some of the biggest businesses became big because of the people they hired. Are you with me? See, it's not necessarily always because the owner is smart. Sometimes it's because he hired smart people. Surround yourself with smart people. It will help your work. In anything you do, just look for smart people and bring them around you. Okay? Identify talent. I'm moving fast because I know that time is not a friend now. The big elephant in the room. A business owner must learn or have the skills of raising capital. It must be able to raise capital. If you don't know how to raise capital, you can't do business. Business requires money. Is that okay? And it's a skill. Do you understand? That's why many of you will never be able to do business, because you have never been around the skill. I was watching a video of Robert Kiyosaki the other day, and he was talking to somebody how he bought a gold mine. And the person said, that's a lot of money. How did you raise that money? Then he said to the guy that he was in Vancouver, and they saw a group of billionaires that were into gold mines having, a business meeting. So he joined. And from there, they taught him how to raise the money. So this guy was like, but I will never have that kind of money. And he said to this guy, because you don't have the knowledge about how to raise that kind of money. Do you understand? Businesses, if you're going to be a business owner, you need to learn how to raise capital. So one of the assignments you could take home today is this. What is the maximum amount I think I can raise today? If you had to ask yourself, can I raise 5 million naira today if I need to really raise 5 million? Can I raise 20 million naira if I need to really raise 20 million naira? This is a skill. And it's not something that prayer will solve. It's something you need to learn. How do people raise money? There are many ways, particularly since we are talking business. How do I raise money for my business? Number one could be savings. Now, savings will not save you. Savings will not make you wealthy. Do you understand? But there could be targeted saving against a particular need. I want to save 5,000 naira monthly over the next 12 months. How much will that be in 12 months' time? Hello? I'm going to approach 10 people that I already have 60,000 naira. I'm going to 500. Now, if somebody meets you, say he wants 500,000 but he doesn't have anything, and the second person meets me saying he wants to raise 500 but he has 60, I'm going to attend more to the person that has 60. Why? It's the way life is. He has demonstrated enough commitment to put his skin in the game. This one, no skin in the game. Are you with me? So you want to meet people, but you're at zero. Instead of meeting them at zero, say to them, I have my seed capital. This is my own part. I got 60,000 naira. So you can save towards it. So how do I have that savings? Wow. I don't want to start all of that today. We've talked about it a lot. By not buying clothes. By not buying shoes. I looked at a photo recently and I saw that one of the clothes I still wear today has been there since, I've been wearing it for 7 years now. Somebody say, 7 years? It's not worn out. It's not faded. We keep wearing it until I'm tired of it. Say, well, I'm not a TV personality. I'm not to impress anybody. I'm just here to do my thing. So that's how you save money, by reducing your trip to... I wanted to mention a brand, but I'm beginning to think that this brand will think that I have something personal against them. And interestingly, I go to the brand, I patronize them myself. So I'm not going to mention a particular brand. By reducing your frequency to those brands. Sometimes what you eat is the reason you are not able to eat your target. So please, Put money aside. Save money. At least for that small. There are some of you that are serving. Target the end of your service here. By the end of my service here, I want to have this much in my account. It's the beginning of everything, literally. My son met me yesterday and said to me, Daddy, I have some amount in my savings. But he wanted to do something with it, which I think he shouldn't be doing with his money at this phase of his life. But what impressed me was that he said he has some money in his savings. And I asked him how he got them. Then he said there were some games he played commercially online and he won and he got some money and he put some. I was impressed because that is an entrepreneurial spirit at work. You say this thing is a spirit. But when you say, I don't make money, how is it that an adult is not making any more money? It should worry you, shouldn't it? Hello? Shouldn't it worry you? It should. It should. There's joy in making something no matter how small it is. There's great joy in that. So, raising capital starting with your savings. Another thing that is possible is partnership. Partnership. I've identified this big idea. It looks so nice. But I don't know I'm going to raise the money. Get into partnership. Meet people that you think have it. And say to them, can we partner in this project? I have this idea. I'm going to run it. But I want you on board. So you are going to be a financing partner. I'm going to be an active partner. I'll be the one running the business. But we are in this together. And we share the profit. That's what partnership is about. It may not necessarily be a registered business and all of that, but we are doing business. And you know that there are a lot of businesses like that today. You know why many people are not getting into business? They are saving money to register the business. That's not the business. The business is really in what is bringing in the money. You can register later depending on the country you are. Hallelujah. Is somebody still with me? That's something you can do. And you can even go into another one called equity financing. Equity means stake. So you're saying to this person, you know, this business, I don't have the money for you, but I'm so sure it's going to make money. Okay? Or I've started this business, it's already making this, but we want it to grow. We need this money. Okay? And your own reward is that you're going to have 40% of the company. You're going to have 30% of the company. You're going to have 50% of the company. We call it equity financing. They bring in money, you give them a part of the business. So, everybody is happy. You know what is killing small mind? No, it's my business. I must have everything. My friend said it this way, that it's better to own 10% of an elephant than to own 100% of a rat. It's my business, I'm the CEO. Nobody is fighting with you on your title. Have you observed that every big business is owned by many? It's rare to, when businesses get to a level, they go public. When we say something has gone public, what does it mean? It means that they have sold a part of the business to other investors. So, people of God, one of the great things you can do is to do equity financing. Maybe it can help you to move forward. Where do you start from? Very simple. Draw up a proposal. Learn how to draw up a proposal. You can start with ChatGPT today. Draw up a proposal for a hypothetical business named Kineka. The business is into this. You describe it very well. Let the proposal include you, and then bam, it gives you a draft. Don't use it like that. Just use it as a base, a starting point. It gives you an idea about what to write. Then you can meet people. Who can I meet? Well, you can start with me. Come talk to me. Let's talk about it. I'm meeting somebody later today who is bringing up a business idea. He has sent the idea to me and is looking for equity financing. So if you give me this, over the next 10 years, you're going to have this kind of inflow. It's drawn up the cash flow. I've looked at the cash flow, say, okay, maybe something we can be interested in. Equity financing can get you off the ground rather than looking for when you will not be able to save enough. Are you with me? Even if you save, you say, what I would need is 20 million naira. But what you can save, let's say your salary today is 200,000. I know that most companies don't pay 200,000 for starters. Most companies, and I've seen a lot of remuneration package lately from even big companies that I expected were doing a lot, but a lot of them are around the 100, 120 region. You want to save, you get your salary is 100K. Let's even say, when I say you cut down everything, you are not eating, you are not doing anything, you are not drinking water, you're able to save the 100. You are not breathing. If you save 100,000 naira per month, how much is that? In a year? 1.2 million. How long will it take you to save 20 million naira that you are looking at? Is somebody with me? So savings alone cannot get you there. You need to look for other financing model. A business owner must be able to raise capital. And the other thing is debt financing. So raising capital through your savings starts, partnership, equity financing, debt financing. Debt financing means you take a loan. Debt, D-E-B-T. You take a loan. If I get this amount, the reward for equity will be dividend. The reward for debt will be interest. So if I take this loan, I'll pay back this in this number of years. That's how you can also do it. Somebody who trusts you, who believes in your integrity, gives you a loan. But be careful. Don't go and take a loan and put all your legs into this business will not fail. There was one I got to know recently, and the business owner, the visionary, runs another business, but he wanted to get into a new line of business, and thank God he shared it with me. I ran the model. I'm an accountant. I ran the model for him, and I said to him, there are too many risks in your assumptions, and I stress test a few of the variables. I said, if this part fails, you are in deep problem. And he was going to do debt financing where he will commit to paying a monthly interest. So I said, don't do that. I gave him another idea instead. Why don't you try this? It's a business you're just testing out. So thank God he took to my advice. He didn't go for the debt financing. We were able to get the financing through other vehicles. There are so many vehicles. Brick financing through debt. There are many other vehicles. So we were able to get some of the amount. I told him to phase the implementation. Don't go straight. Phase the implementation. Let's just run this for what we call proof of concept. So we ran that part, and guess what? His assumptions were not working. My assumptions that this part can fail, and if this part fails, everything is failed. That was what happened. All the money are not coming in because a portion failed. And one day he said, thank you, sir, because you saved me. By now, I would have gotten the money. I would have been paying interest on a business that is not working. So please be careful about using debt financing to run your business, because it could kill your business. So raising capital is a very, very important point. I'm rounding off now because of time. Businesses can build wealth. Why? Because, number one, profits are huge. Profits could be huge if you are into a high margin industry. Number two, because you could build the business up to a point where it becomes a passive income. An active income is the one where you're working yourself. And employment is an active income. If you're providing the service yourself, is an active income. Like a doctor who owns a hospital now, that is active if he is the only doctor there. It only becomes passive when he employs other doctors and he doesn't have to be there. Do you understand that? So a business can become a passive income model, and then you can start other businesses. I watched the video of a young lady who said she owns 26 companies. How many? Say it again. 26 companies. And she said the secret is outsourcing. Outsourcing. She outsources a lot of them. She started this so that, and then she got into this, and then she got into this, so it's not giving her a headache. With multiple vehicles like this, you will be able to fulfill the principle. There's one key principle to wealth creation, which is multiple sources of income. You are not likely to be able to build wealth with just a single source of income. You're likely to build wealth with multiple sources of income. Are you with me? Hello? Is somebody getting it now? So it's not going to take a job that will take all your life away. It won't get you anywhere really. You need to quickly save some money, get out of there so that you can have multiple, sources of income. I watched another man who explained how he became wealthy. He said he became a millionaire in dollars at the age of 24. He said the first one, he began to save and save and save, denied himself of a lot of things because of a targeted saving. He said, and when he had gotten some money, and I think he got other money with it, it's in the US, not here. We don't have that environment. So some of the things some of them are able to do, we may find it a bit difficult in Nigeria. So he got some money, enough for what is called a down payment. When you want to buy a house, let's say in the US, and you have a good credit score, if you have an amount, they call it down payment. In some places, it could be 20% of the property you want to buy. That is all you need actually with a good credit score. So you put it down, then they give you a mortgage over 30 years, depending on your age. So with the down payment and the mortgage over 30 years, so let's say, for example, you want to buy a house that is worth $100,000. Okay? With 20% down payment, all you need to have in cash is $20,000. And the house becomes yours. You start living in it because there's a mortgage. Now, listen to it. The mortgage is paid every month. You pay to the owner every month until it, to the financing company every month. Because the owner would have gotten his money, you pay the financial institution. Now, listen. So for him, he got a house with a basement. And he rented out the basement. Now listen, the rent on the basement was enough to pay his mortgage. So he was living upstairs, rented out the basement for an amount big enough to pay his mortgage. So he was living free. Meanwhile, he had title to the house. So with that title to the house, he got a second house. He said by the time he was 24, he already had, I think, 15 homes or so. 15. All rented out, bringing in money. And he said he was making $12,000 monthly at 24. Is somebody with me? While we may not be able to implement every part of it if you are here in Nigeria because of the environment here, but we can learn a lot from those things. Hallelujah. Digital marketing agencies are making it a lot these days. You learn how to run digital marketing, then you set up an agency to offer services to other people. E-commerce services are making it a lot these days. It's never been easier to import from China. You can bring in things, and you just need you don't even need so much inventory. You just need an online marketplace. You sign up with a phone, and I've seen a lot of it up locally here. And a guy was interviewed. I saw the video. The guy, 24 years old, owns a yacht. And they asked him what he was doing, what he does for a living. He said he's into e-commerce, big time e-commerce. I said, okay. For how long? He said, 4 years. I said, what's the revenue like? He said, the previous year before that interview, the revenue was $32 million. So out of the $32 million, profit was $19 million in e-commerce. Now again, you have to study the climate very well. Jumia didn't make profit for a very long time, even though they're into e-commerce in Nigeria. So you have to study. I'm just giving you a lot of ideas, which is why you're going to be a business owner, reading a lot has to be your thing. Hallelujah. We can do businesses because it fulfills, number one, passive income. Number two, multiple streams of income. And little by little, if you gradually begin to build this, it can work for you. One of the key model is side hustle. You may not be able to start, for most people, with just off like that. You may need a 9 to 5 to get you started. You may need other ways of raising capital to get you started, but by and large, it's something that every one of us needs to consider. Glory be to God. Put your hands together for Jesus Christ. Has this been clear? Okay. Let's see if we can take 2 or 3 questions. Any question? Let me check whether there's any question. I cannot see any hand, so I take it that we're all fine. Check online if there's a question. Is there any question there? Okay. Who wants to tell us 2 things that you learned this morning? 2 things that you learned this morning. I just speak randomly. Huh? 2 key things. Godfrey, yeah, come and tell us 2 key things that you learned this morning.
Praise God. I think Daddy has spoken a lot about, first of all, savings is very important. Okay, so if you have to create wealth, you have to first of all identify value, then you save towards it. So it's like a target saving, you are saving towards it, and if you're able to identify the value and how to create it, how to replicate it, you read about it, you save towards it, you will achieve it. That's first of, that's one of the things. Another thing is able to identify talent. It's very important. I think I read a book that Daddy bought one time for his kids, and I came to Daddy's place that day, and I read that book, Who Not How. It's one of the books that would help you. It's you being able to identify people that can buy into your vision, even though you are not able to do that thing yourself. So there are several things that you might not be able to do yourself, but being able to identify, that's what Daddy talked about, partnerships, right? There are several things that you will not be able to do for yourself and do by yourselves, but once you have the idea, you identify the value, you know people that can help you, that can key to that vision, that can contribute to it. And before you know it, that idea is something big. So it's something that you can also learn. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. James.
Praise God. All right, Daddy has really spoken a lot, and
Just continue.
yeah. So the first thing I got was the rate at which businesses in this part of the world works, and that's like the business mortality rate in Nigeria, and that's like 5 to 10%, and
Survive
in Nigeria
in
yes,
5
and
years.
yeah, I was like, because I was already thinking of starting a business myself, and I'm like, but yes, I was already.
And you should still start.
Yes,
you
definitely.
just need to be aware. Risk awareness is not discouragement. It's not something you should shy away from so that you are not discouraged.
Yeah, that helped, like in the latter part of the talk, especially to understand that being aware of the risk helps you to avoid, potholes or those holes. And then another thing is one of the most critical things to consider is identifying opportunities, especially in places like Nigeria. That is an instance where foreigners always come to Nigeria to do their businesses, and I've always been wondering, so I'm like, why do these people come here? We want to jackpot. We only jackpot to go and look for jobs over there, but most of them come here. That means there are lots of opportunities, through our population, and we seem to have a lot of problems, so yeah.
And you can imagine, where else do they invest, including Americans? China. Huh? A lot of them have businesses in China. You know that Trump has businesses in China. Why? Over 1 billion people. Very important. Where else am I calling? The question is now coming. Maisha, I want to take a question now. Okay, let's listen to it.
Praise God. So here's my question. You talked about the guy that at 24, he already had like multiple houses because of mortgage. For us here in Nigeria, it's like the environment is not that enabling. Even with the fact that, okay, let's say you're able to see opportunities, recognize opportunities, you still need capital. How do you raise that money as an entrepreneur in an environment that is not necessarily enabling per se? So for example, I'll use myself as a case study. I have a business that I do. I have a product that I sell. So I wanted to get a physical store, like a space to start selling, not just going out for events. And then when I go there, the amount I hear to get the place is so large, it's a lot of money. I'm like, how do I go about this? Because first of all, I can't go and take loan because I don't have that. I'm not a really big brand. I don't have anything to mortgage with. So how do I go about it?
Okay. Yeah, I know I talked quite a lot about raising capital, didn't I? I said you could start with your savings, and with your savings, you can present that as your skin in the game to raise money. I said you could have debt financing where you take a loan, even though maybe it's, except you are really sure of what you are doing and you are not putting all your legs, because I know loans kill people if you don't manage it well. But if you know how to manage it well, it could give you room for more. But we also mentioned equity financing. So for example, what if you bring somebody else into the business? You own 70, the person owns 30, or you own 60, the person owns 40%, and you do the business together. But raising capital is one thing, a business model is another thing. From what you're saying, you want to start doing things that look like brick and mortar. And I mentioned to you earlier on how that is one of the reasons a lot of businesses are failing, because the overhead. For example, you're selling belts, shoes, then you get a store in VI. Okay, you're going to be, I know some people do that to be close to people that can afford it and all of that, but these are not luxury products you're selling. It's okay to sell luxury products, but the rental cost alone can kill the business, such that even if the business is doing well, the overhead is not allowing it to make profit. So if you say you want to get a place and the thing is already killing, ask yourself, how many of my products do I need to sell to cover the rent? Can I easily sell that? If the answer is a no, then your business model is at fault and you need to start thanking God that you have not gotten a loan yet. Because by now, you would have started fasting and praying. Oh, God, help me. I didn't know how. No. How many products do I need to sell to cover just the rent? And when will we start making profit? So sometimes we are better off not doing business than doing it, because we are not very realistic with ourselves. We just want to do business. No. Sometimes we need to look away from the business we love to the business that works. Thank you. Okay.
So there's two questions here. It's saying, is it possible to raise money through shares purchase or investment? Then the second one says, sir, please, can you say something about shares purchase?
Shares purchase will not fit into our topic today, which is businesses. Last week we looked at personal finance, and that's where share purchase is more like an investment. You buy stock from other company, which means you need money to be able to do that. Okay? And so today we're talking about how you can get some of those money. I don't want to delve too much into shares and shares purchase, but basically when you buy shares, you are buying a little part, a fractional part of another company that is doing well. And the reward for that is shares appreciation or capital appreciation and dividend. There could be many more that you could benefit from, but you get that now. So that's the way that works. But when you say, can I raise capital through shares? Yes, that's equity financing, which means, if I understand very well, a part of my business goes away. Now, when you call it shares, it depends on how you look at it. So every owner is a shareholder, okay? So when you dilute that base, which means that I used to own it 100%, I bring somebody else to own a part of it, and they now own a part, and in turn, they bring money into the company. Then yes, you can raise capital. That is the equity financing. Yeah.
Sir, thank you, sir, for the time taken, sir. So I just wanted to quickly touch on, and this has been bothering me, so I don't know how to put it. I interface with these Igbo guys often in the market. They send in their children to come learn the trade. They don't go through this normal school, this normal form of education, and these guys are really doing well. I don't know how. So is this something that's advisable in our dispensation, to send your child or your ward to go learn trading from somebody, and at the end they get set them up, and today these guys are doing very, very well without going to the normal school learning of how to become a successful businessman, but these guys are making a lot of money. So can you just say something about it?
Okay,
it should be something that is encouraging our dispensation and times, sir.
I don't know what is disturbing you. There's nothing to disturb you. You need at this phase of your life to differentiate between school and education. Do you understand? What you should be going for is not school. What you should be going for is education, because that is what works. Now, what you have mentioned is the model of apprenticeship. And it will interest you to know that I think it is Harvard that now even studies the Igbo model of apprenticeship. So it's something recognized globally. It's been working for years. It's not planning to fail. It's a real model. You serve, and while serving, you are acquiring education, business education. But you are not just doing that. You are also investing your time for the raising of your capital. No serious boss under that model leaves you without giving you the startup capital. So by the time you serve for 4 or 5 years, you know that capital is coming. So it's a known model and it works very well. Should we send our children to do that today? Don't also forget that among the Igbo people, not all of them do that. Some of them go through the formal school. So not everybody will go through that route, that method. If what you want is to do business in a particular industry, then maybe that's something you can look at. But if you want all-rounded global opportunities, you do need certificates that can only be offered from recognized institution of learning. So it's not enough to do that if you need, more. Okay, praise God. I guess we're going to stop here today. But please, what will be my joy is that some of us who have participated in this, in your personal finance, you are cutting down costs, you are learning more ways to make money in line with God's purpose for your life. Very, very important. You are learning about investment. And then for those of you that are going to be into business, you are doing business, you are restructuring and remodeling your business. And you can always come around to me. Let's talk about your business ideas and opportunities. I can advise you. I do that quite a lot for business owners. I can advise you, counsel you on how to go about it. It will be my joy that a year down the line from here, somebody can say, because of that series we had, I'm building wealth now. I hope that person is in church today. Glory be to God. Put your hands together for Jesus.